The 49ers are absolutely rolling. And really, I mean, that's the conversation at hand through each
Mhm.
one of these topics. But we're going to go about it in different ways. First of all, looking at the San Francisco 49ers right now, if the season were to end today, do you believe that the 49ers have Defensive Player of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year, MVP, and Coach of the Year currently residing on this roster and coaching staff?
It sure as hell seems like it. I mean, right now, if you're trying to even save offensive MVP, I mean, you need to take your pick. Right now, if you're giving a freeze frame of today, Brock Purdy is top 10 as far as MVP voting goes, and I believe Christian McCaffrey is the MVP. So that's right there. Defensive MVP. I mean, what can you really? I mean, if you don't want to go with the household name of Nick Bosa, try on Fred Warner. Try Fred Warner on for size. He's having one of the best seasons of his career. If you look at what Kyle is doing with Brock Purdy, with the offense, I mean, we put up 40 last week. We're averaging over 30. And the defense and the offense, we're playing the best complementary football to date. So you would have to give Kyle the nod, right? So, and if we're looking at what was the offensive and defensive and the MVP, I mean, offensive player of the year, you could just give it to Brock. You could, and then we still don't even know what BA is going to do, right? Because BA is looking to have the season of his career with him being on with him fighting for his bag. So all I feel like we say the word window a lot, right? Window this, window that. I feel like everybody's all of the all of the initiatives of everybody's individual lane is coming together at the right time. I don't necessarily feel it's like a window, but I just feel like everybody's motivations, all of their individual motivations seem to be congruent. And it's saying, like, all right, well, all of and the byproduct of everybody trying to have their individual pursuit of guarantee, I mean of goals, uh, the byproduct is hopefully a Super Bowl.
Yeah, it most certainly is. And right now, I mean, again, early in the season, who knows if they can carry this or allow it to keep going. But I would
Mhm.
have to say, I mean, defensive player of the year before this week, I don't think that the 49ers had that. I do think after this week that Fred Warner made a major statement on national television. And you know as well as I do, coach. I mean, this goes back to the whole college football thing. East Coast teams usually get favor because everybody sees the East Coast team play. When the West Coast team plays, they play on grainy, crappy televisions. I don't know how that
Horrible.
happens from the
That
Pac 12.
FS1. FS1
It's
games look
horrible.
like rainy high school games, and they do it all the time. I don't know if they have this special filter that they put on FS1 sports games, but it looks like they're always playing with a car light from the parking lot. Like somebody's got on their high beams lighting up the field. I cannot stand FS1 games. I don't get it.
It's like the fireworks went off and there's always the smoke
The
that's right
smoke
there in front of
afterwards.
the
Yeah.
whole time. The whole
The whole
time. I don't but either way, either way, that you have those FS1 games, they're at 10 o'clock at night and they don't get the benefit of the doubt. Well, the
no.
49ers do have the benefit of the doubt of playing on national television, and that matters. It really
True.
does. If Fred Warner had done what he did this last week and did it at a 1 o'clock time slot, nobody would have cared. But because everybody watched it, now they understand how good Fred Warner is, if they didn't already. But
Right.
it's funny because I've been talking about Fred Warner as a potential DPOY for feels like 3 years now, and every
Right.
year, like, man, he doesn't have the stats, he doesn't have this, you know. But as an actual player, play in and play out, he certainly does fit the mold. But it is a statistic heavy category. And for him, he's starting to get the statistics. So I love that for him. I think the OPOY and MVP, these are two things that we've been talking about now for a couple weeks. Is it Christian? Is it Purdy?
Mhm.
Could they win both these awards? What does that look like? And then coach of the year, I mean, shoot, if the 49ers continue to go undefeated, or get the number one seed, how do you continue to deny Kyle Shanahan? I believe he actually should have gotten it last year. He
Yeah,
did.
I mean, yeah, he didn't. I mean, well, Dabo came in and surged, and he probably did it with, and that's just, that is kind of the point. What I literally was about to just bring up. So Brian Dable kind of got the nod because he was essentially doing more with less, right? So, in my opinion, that's why he got the nod. Not, albeit not better than Kyle, but that's why you would see how he got pushed over Kyle for this. And that does kind of go to with to much is given, much is required, right? This is a loaded team. And sometimes Kyle gets a lot of deserved respect, as he should, but at the same time, sometimes you do wonder how much of this is because they're loaded or how much of this is because of Kyle and because of what they do, right? So I feel like with what they're doing this year, you can clearly see that everybody is aligned with what Kyle is doing. And offensively, he's in his bag. Kyle is in his bag. I mean, some of the things that he's doing with Christian, with being able to move him all over the field, even being able to just efficiently get the ball out. There really wasn't any, Christian's the straw that stirs the drink, of course. But if you go back and look at the box score, I mean the box stats of the game, the ball was economic. Like everybody got a piece. Debo was 3 for 3. George was 4 for 4. Everybody seemed to be getting relative touches. And I feel like that's Kyle. Of course, Brock being able to find the ball economically throughout the field. But yeah, Kyle is having a great season thus far. He is.
Yeah, he is. And seeing the frustration he had at halftime when they only had 21 points, you love to
Mhm.
see that. I mean, he's holding himself and this team to an extremely high standard. It just seems to me that from the moment that first whistle blew, this team held themselves to a Super Bowl standard. And I can't
Mhm.
say that that has been the case in the past. And that's what you're seeing right now is in a culmination of all of that hard work, all of that mental, hardship that they went through and losing Super Bowls and NFC championships and all that frustration and honing it to perfection. And that's exactly what's happening right now. And
Mhm.
really, you saw that fully break down on Sunday against the Dallas Cowboys because we've been talking about how, they're leaving points on the board and as good as they've been, I feel like they can be better. I talked a couple weeks ago with Ryan saying, I know that what Miami's doing is very impressive offensively. I
Mhm.
don't know that the 49ers can be the same quick strike offense, but I believe point for point, they can keep up with Miami. I really believe that. And now I think you're starting to see it. You're starting to see it. And you saw it on Sunday. It's phenomenal to watch.
Yeah, and I'm a football purist and I love running the ball, right? I feel like running the ball continues to control every game that you go into. If you can run the ball and stop the run, you're on a whole different level. And when you look at a team like Miami, yeah, they produce a lot of points. Yes, they are explosive on offense, but in a way they're tilted, right? In a way, they're tilted because they don't have anything that can necessarily control the clock. They can't really control the game. They have to go balls to the wall, pedal to the metal to score. They almost kind of remind you of a Chip Kelly offense in the guise of how they get it done because they can't necessarily control a game. I like the way we get it better. I like how we do it better, right? Because we're going to score 30 points, but we're going to score 30 points and keep you off the field. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? We're going to score 30 points and you ain't got enough time to be running all of that shit against us because we got a defense that even if you're good enough to score, you're going to have to work for all of your points. So, one of the things that Miami poses is they are quick strike. They are getting the ball deep and they can be able to accumulate points. But that's juxtaposed to a team that can't slow down and control the pace of the game. And that's what's so fucking dangerous about us. It's the way we strangle teams. We don't just beat them. Like the Cowboys was a blowout, right? But we scored 42 points, but that game was over in midway through the third quarter, right? So I feel like there was a lot of style points. Yeah, we put up 40 points, but the way we're beating teams is that if you know the way we're holding serve, especially in the run game, is it, that's why you see teams fighting at the end of the game. That's the true sign of surrender. When you break character and you start defending your manhood because you are getting your ass whooped so much that it's like, forget the scoreboard, forget the points. This is personal now. I can't keep having you move me around. And that's the way we're playing teams right now. It's encouraging.